In racing, we say, to finish first, you must first finish. Before that, you've got to start. Why is it in America that we're 7th place per capita in robots? It's because we're the reserve currency of the world. It means that the rest of the world will make goods for us in return for dollars. This reserve currency is a big advantage right now, but it forces us to run huge trade deficits. In the long term, this is not a good solution. We must reinvigorate our manufacturing to reduce the trade deficits in America. I mentioned that robots are used for the dull, dirty, dangerous jobs, but let's talk about financially why robots are used. Typically, it's quality and money. Let's talk about quality first. Robots are very repeatable and extremely accurate. You wouldn't want me to carve a contact lens for you by hand. First off, the cost would be terribly high and you wouldn't be able to see through it. But instead, the precision of a robot or an automatic machine allows us to make contact lens so cheaply that we can use one every day and throw it away. Another example is surgery. Even the best surgeons can't hold plus or minus 2 millimeters during orthopedic surgery. That's 1/10 of an inch. Surgical outcomes are very dependent upon this accuracy. Our robots are able to hold 0.2 millimeters, 10 times the accuracy of a human surgeon. Plus, we're able to do radii. Humans can't cut curves. Robots are extremely good at circular interpolation. One day, when knee surgery is performed by the robot, we'll have circular interpolation and we'll have sub-millimeter accuracy and we'll have better patient outcomes. This is the kind of quality improvements you can expect with robots. So one of the best ways to use robots is to reapply solutions which have worked in the past. There's very little difference to us from cutting metal or cutting bone. By taking an old solution which has already worked and reapplying it, we don't have to reinvent a solution. We simply reapply one that's worked in the past. Another big driver in robotics is safety. Too many times I get a job to automate a process after someone has gotten hurt. What you need to do is look for problems before they happen. We can apply robots to dangerous situations before anyone is hurt and prevent that injury from ever happening. And finally, the biggest motivator in industry to buy a robot is financial. We're trying to improve efficiency. It's ironic, but some of the first automation success in industry were machine tools. And these are some of the most highly paid jobs, which is a motivator to eliminate a highly paid job. But it also is some of the most technical work that anybody does in a factory is running a machine tool. But the robots, which in this case were numerically controlled machine tools, were able to do things that humans couldn't possibly do, and they did it more quickly and more repeatably. There's no way a human can do circular interpolation, but it's easy for a computer to do this. It's ironic, but the menial jobs, the sweeping, the deburring, the sanding, these jobs weren't automated until later. And the reason for this is they're tough because you have to deal with a changing environment. You have to deal with changing parts. This means you need sensor systems and you need advanced intelligence in your control system to deal with these changes in part position and part configuration before you can actually do these operations. That's what advanced robots are able to do nowadays is we have improved sensor systems which allow us to tackle some of these menial jobs. And we have to be extremely efficient because we're eliminating actually low value jobs. These are low labor cost jobs, but we're able to do it efficiently enough to justify the cost of a robot. So when you're looking for a robot project in your factory, you need to consider what robots do well. Frequently, people will bring to us the problem that's their biggest problem in their plant, and that's all well and good. And if technology exists that will allow us to solve that problem, I'm all in. But sometimes it's better to simply back up and figure out what the robots do best and apply that to your work. Frequently, we will find that if we improve an upstream process, then we can eliminate a downstream problem. So rather than solving it later with robots and vision and advanced technology, if we improve the part quality feeding into that system, we can do you a better job. This is not to say we shouldn't tackle your biggest problem. Maybe we should, but you have to be aware that if it involves research and development, there's additional costs. There still may be justified depending on the magnitude of your problem. We like both kinds of jobs. So business is all about efficiency. We're trying to minimize time, minimize material usage, minimize waste, and maximize quality. The way to do this is with advanced technology. Robots are simply another tool in your toolbox to help you with your welding, painting, grinding, sanding, whatever operation you may have. Frequently, I tell people you need to look at what robots have succeeded on in the past. Some of the early success stories in robots were spot welders. Why is that? The tool's extremely heavy. The positions of the welds are very precise on the vehicles, and it's a perfect robot job. The next application that went well was painting. As I told you, robots are extremely repeatable. So once you teach it how to paint a part, The paint job will be consistent time after time after time. One of the last areas that's going to be automated is assembly. And this is kind of ironic because this is a relatively low-skilled job. But with new sensor systems in robots, the robots actually have a sense of touch now. And that is so critical to the assembly process. The robot must feel its way putting these parts together. And with this new sense of touch on all axes, robots are going to take over a great deal of the assembly as well as some of these other processes in industry. So as a business owner, where do you start? Tough question. This is why you really need to team up with people that are good at automation. You need to look at your problems through the eyes of someone that's done this for a while. We have a program we call MAP, which is Manufacturing Automation Audit Program. What that means is we walk from your receiving dock all the way through your manufacturing process to your shipping dock. Frequently, we will be told that this is the area we want to work in. We'll say, well, that's all well and good, but in reality, your problems stem way back at the beginning of your process. And if we improve, let's say, your cutting or your inspection process, the benefits will flow all the way through to the other end. And so my suggestion to you is to work with automation experts to help you determine where is the best bang for your buck? Where's your biggest dollar advantage automating? And I also want you to avoid the problem that early robot industry in America had. We took all the cool jobs, whereas rather than the easy jobs. You need to start with what is doable and what is affordable and what is efficient and quickly able to get online. And then later you can build on the success. You walk before you run in robotics.